Hello everyone, so just before you watch the rest of the video, I want to let you know there's a few more jump cuts in the first few clips than there are in some of the later clips, and that is because I took almost 8 months off with this project because the embroidery took longer than I thought it was going to. I originally was just making the top at around the same time that season 2 of What If was coming out because I knew there was an episode that had Wanda in it, but I overestimated myself because I was exhausted. I had just finished the project related to Doctor Who, the dress I made based off the outfit from the Christmas special, so yeah, there were directions I was going to take the project in that did not pan out, so a lot of that was cut out of those earlier clips, as well as the fact that there was a lot of terminology that I've used in past videos that you would maybe only understand very well if you're someone that also knows how to sew, so I wanted to use less of that, but when I reviewed the footage, I found that I still used quite a lot of that terminology. That's what happens when you have ADHD and you go on tangents. So yeah, the extra jump cuts at the beginning are because of that, and I hope you don't mind that too much, so please enjoy the rest of the video. Guys, I also have this really cool WandaVision enamel pin. Really nice. It's also one of the largest pins that I have, and during the night I can see this part here glows a little bit in the dark, which is really cool. My other largest pin is Mother on the Iron Throne with her babies, as she should. I originally wanted to do like a dye ombre thing with the top of like red to pink with this fabric, but the stores in town that I go to for craft and sewing type of stuff, they don't have red dye. But because Wanda's comic costume is red and pink, and it was my original idea was gonna still be red and pink anyway, I'm okay with the fabric being pink and just the embroidery thread and the beads that I'm going to buy to be red. So these are the materials that I do have thus far. I have some pink thread, I have some darker pink solid fabric, and then some light dusty rose chiffon fabric, very see-through, some embroidery thread. This is red, this is all I have, so I gotta get more of that, and then some thin pink ribbon that's pretty much the same shade of pink as this. This pink fabric is going to be the lining because it's not see-through, and then I'm going to have 2 or 3 layers of this over top on the front and back, and to make up the off-the-shoulder sleeves. So this is the very basic sketch for the top that I have done, just so you can see. So the off-the-shoulder sleeves that I was talking about are not going to have a lining, they're just going to be that sheer fabric. And the top is going to be mostly heart-shaped, but with the points, because the red embroidery thread and the beading is going to make up on the top of the top the design that is Wanda's crown. So I had played around with the pattern piece that I talked about from a previous project, and I used parchment to trace over it and then change it. So as you can see here, this piece here is the bodice piece. You can see the points that will be the crown in the design. So the side darts I didn't change, but the darts that go this way go inward to a point where when it's laying flat it does look weird, but when I'm wearing it, it looks fine. So I've done a fair amount of embroidery on the off-the-shoulder sleeves. However, it is taking so much longer than I thought it would. So the design is supposed to look like Wanda's chaos magic creating cracks in reality. And I'm not sure how visible it is on camera, but I used beads that were not as reflective, and then on the end of the cracks I used more reflective beads, and then on the cracks that are not against the end of the sleeve, those are made up of only the reflective beads. So I'm not sure how visible that is, but this amount that I've done on this sleeve and this little amount here alone has taken a few days, and I switched it up when I did this upper row here from doing every bead individually to doing like 2 or 3, stringing on 2 or 3, and that made it go by a little quicker. So I'm going to use that method for the rest of this, and I also think that the side of the sleeve that will be on the back of my arm will be less densely beaded to save my beads and to also not take up as much time. So I'm just going to keep doing this until they're done. Alright, so it has been literally months since the last clip that I filmed, but as you can see, I've begun the embroidery for the Wanda crown on the chest of the blouse, and I've done about half, so I'm going to finish that. Alright, so I am fully done with the embroidery for the chest portion. Don't worry about where you can see the marker, because it does wash out. I tested it on some of the scraps that had marker on them, and they do wash out, so I don't have to worry about that. So this needs to now be attached to the lining, which will hopefully help with some of this sagging going on here because of the heaviness of the beads, which I did not account for, but also because in the booby area on this sewing mannequin, it does not fill it out as much as I do, so that's also part of it. So I will see you once that is attached to the lining. Yes, I know the camera is tipped a little bit. My camera stand is currently a little bit crooked. I broke it. Or, well, I bent it and it needs to be fixed, so please ignore that. And that's also the reason why a lot of my shots have been shaky, because I haven't been using the stand. But the top of the outfit is almost done. You can see on the sides the little lace up is now done, and I did a border of red embroidery thread on the top and bottom. I think it frames the edges very nicely. So now I gotta figure out attaching the sleeves. Originally, I was going to have the sleeves be attached right above where the little lace-up on the side detail is, but I slowly started to realize that the off-shoulder would be way too off-shoulder if I did that, to the point where it wouldn't really fit and you would miss out on a lot of the detail that I embroidered on the sleeves, which I don't want you to miss out on. So I have a new idea of how the sleeves will be attached, and that also involves how the straps that are going to go over the shoulders, how those will be arranged. Okay, so as you can see, I'll tip it up. So I have the straps pinned to the tips of the crown and then crossing over behind the neck to the other side. So that's what's gonna provide some support for the heaviness of all of the beading and everything. And for the off-shoulder sleeves, I've tried to pin them in a way that kind of shows how they're gonna look, Obviously, because the sewing mannequin doesn't have arms, that complicates it a little bit. It's not going to look exactly how it's going to be looking worn, but the front of the sleeve will be sewn to the other side of the tips of the crown, and where it's sewn onto the back will be the strap. So you see, when that goes around, crosses over the other side and attaches to the back of the main dress portion, the other side of the sleeve will be sewn onto where that strap is crossing over. So the other side of that sleeve will be sewn on to where that crosses over. That's that's the best way that I can explain it. So now I have to actually sew those in place, and that's the last bit of sewing that I need to do for the top. So the top is done, except for the princess seams here look a little bit not aligned properly, and that is due to the beading not being perfectly aligned. But otherwise it fits very nicely. The little tie-up things, they didn't end up doing very much. It kind of fits the same whether or not I have it done up, so that's neither here nor there. But I'm wearing a skirt that is kind of the same sort of crisscross that I'm going to be doing with a little ruffle on the end that the actual skirt for the project will have. So I look forward to starting that. I am going to try to make these more aligned, but I am going to do that later because I just really want to move on to the skirt, because this top took a while and I am proud of it, and honestly I feel like pretty sexy in it, to be honest. And I don't get to feel attractive that often, so that's really nice. And I like the way the embroidery on the sleeve looks, so everything's good there, and I just really want to start the skirt now, so we're gonna do that. Guys, I broke a sewing needle. Fully broke a sewing needle. I was holding it in my hand, and I was holding it like this, and it fully snapped. I don't genuinely, I work out and all of that, and I do grip strength stuff, so maybe I was just being too rough with it. But this is a pretty thick sewing needle. Look at this one. See how that's thinner? This is thick. This is sturdy. It wasn't showing signs of aging. It wasn't starting to bend at all. And it fully snapped in my hand. It was kind of funny because I was in the middle of a stitch and it snapped, and I just had it in my hand being like, what do I do? Anyway, I was able to thread onto another needle and continue, but oh my goodness, I snapped a needle with my fingers, and I don't feel like I was being that rough with it. I'm shocked. If I tried to snap a needle with my finger, I don't feel like I could. I'm not gonna test that out, obviously, but wow. So, for the skirt, I stopped by the dollar store the other day, and when I was there, I saw some cheap purple capes and some other colors too, but the purple ones I was interested in because I realized I could use it for the Agatha-esque skirt. Because originally I was going to use some purple dye, because I bought some fabric dye recently for a project that I'll be doing in a separate video, and thought I might just use that and make the skirt like pink to purple ombre. But finding this was much better because this has like a shiny iridescent quality to it, which is similar to the pleated, I believe it's some type of organza fabric that Agatha's outfit is mostly made of. So that works. I bought 2 of them so that I would feel I had enough of the spiderweb fabric. And underneath that, I will have a layer of the sheer pink fabric that I had 3 layers of on the top. And I did not have enough of the hot pink fabric to be the skirt lining, but I found a pastel peachy type fabric that works. I was able to find some lilac purple thread and also a zipper, so I will be using those. So those are the materials for the skirt. So the skirt is going to kind of look a little bit like the skirt I wore in the clip where I showed you me actually wearing the top. It is going to have a ruffle at the bottom, so you'll get a little bit more purple because it will be kind of bunched together at the ruffle, and also around the waistband. I'll show a reference photo. I want to have sort of a wraparound at the waist to kind of mimic the bottom of the like top part of Agatha's costume before the fabric underneath flows into the skirt of the dress that she wears. So that is the plan. Okay, so I forget exactly what I said in the last clip, but I ended up not showing in between clips when it came to making the skirt. Simply because I kind of got immersed in it, and I was also super tired from this project. My birthday's coming up and I want to relax, so it took me a little bit longer than it should have to finish the skirt, but I did finish it. So I'm just going to very quickly explain how I did it. So yeah. So with the peach fabric, which by the way, that side of the crossover, for some reason, while it's sitting on the sewing mannequin, it's falling behind the 2 under layers. It doesn't do that when I wear it, so don't worry about it. So the peach layer, I wrapped it around myself and made a couple of darts, which are folds towards the waist to make it more tapered at the waist, and then sewed that down. Then I took the very, very light pink see-through chiffon type fabric and cut off the top of it to make it even, put it around the peach lining, copied where the darts were, then made the little curve at the 2 sides where they overlap. With the purple fabric, the 2 capes had some darts at the top that tapered them inward, so I didn't need to add darts to that. But what I did do was, after I took off the tie-ups and the hoods on the capes, I sewed them together so that I just had a very long rectangle, and I folded that over the 2 other layers and sewed it down. And then once I did that, I was able to cut off the excess because it was longer at the bottom and also longer at the sides. So where it was chopped off at the bottom, I took that very long strip, cut that in half, made the ruffle that wraps around that you can see. From the 2 sides where I had to cut it off that way and ended up with sort of triangular pieces. I used those to make that little side swooping piece. So where they were thinner, I sewed them together and then brought them up to the side, up to where the zipper was installed, and I'll show you that up close. So the zipper was installed and the side swooping piece was gathered and then sewed down, and instead of cutting off the excess, I just sort of let it lay there because I think that added a little bit more visually to it. And around the other side, the same thing. And I really like it. I like how you can see the spiderweb detail up close, but far away it just looks shimmery purple. Very Agatha. So I ended up with exactly what I was going for. So for the reveal, these are the tights that I'm going to wear because they kind of look like the inside of the hex from WandaVision, if you can see, like with the way that the lines are. I'll put up a picture of me actually wearing them. This is from my Instagram account that is just to show off all of my colorful tights because I have a lot of colorful patterned tights. guys enjoyed that reveal. If you like other fashion related stuff, I am going to be putting out a video about my collection of autumn and Halloween sweaters that I have. Almost all of them were homemade. So when that video comes out, you can check that out if you are interested. And also, I'm going to be doing a video showing off my collection of colorful Halloween tights, as well as dyeing a couple of tights that are like this, these skull crossbone tights, neon green, and then the other one is going to be like a pastel purple, a nice lilac. So that video will be coming out if you are interested, and if you have interest in real spooky stuff, I did already put out my first paranormal investigation, and I will be putting out my second soon. I don't know exactly where I'm going to be going because there are a few places I have in mind that I could check out. I just don't know if I'll end up being able to because of, like, you know, if I can go onto the property. But if I can, there is a supposedly cursed grave that is also supposedly a witch's grave. Now, like the investigation I did where that school burnt down, where I said I don't think Angela is a real person who was at the school, and I found out that I was right. I don't think this woman was a witch, and I don't think the grave is cursed. I would like to find out for sure for myself, but yeah, I'm hoping to visit there, but if not, there are some other locations that I have in mind. I'm working my way up to investigating a place, if I can get permission, in town that has been visited by Selena Spooky Boo. So I want to ask what is there if it remembers her. And I really am curious about what the answer might be. So please support those videos if you want to help me work up to that. But regardless, thank you for watching this video all the way through. It means a lot to me. I am so proud with how this project came out. And like, yes, I took an almost 8-month break, but I really needed the break, and it ended up working in my favor, so self-care can pay off. So, you know, take care of yourself, but also don't be afraid to do new things. Also, am I a baddie yet? Did that outfit do it? Did that montage do it? Did I get there? Or do I have to keep trying? Let me know.